Hello and welcome to a special segment for GameSpot's Play for All because we are talking about Streets of Rage 4. It's been the rage all of last year, bringing back a classic in a modern sense. And joining me to talk about the Mr. X Nightmare DLC is Cyril from .mu and Ben, the creative director at Lizard Cube. How y'all doing?
Good. What about you?
I'm hanging in there, man. We're almost ready to actually go out to events. Maybe, I don't know. Last time I saw you, Cyril, was at PAX East before everything went down, and I think Ben, we also met at that event as well. I previewed Streets of Rage 4 as well, so it's kind of coming around now that we've met up again. And I'm glad that you're on here to talk about the Streets of Rage 4 DLC because it looks to be pretty substantial for an update. And but before we get into the details of exactly what's going on with the Mr. X Nightmare DLC, I want to ask y'all about how you've reflected on the wild success of Streets of Rage 4, because I imagine leading up to the previews have been asked a lot about what it's like to kind of try to live up to the expectations of a storied franchise. But now that you've kind of done it and did it with great success, how does that feel?
It's been a surprise for sure. We were probably not expecting that much success, and that's just awesome. We were kind of confident that first, the license is great, and we know lots of people that were waiting for that. And also, while we were producing the game, we were seeing it was taking a very good direction. So we're confident that it wouldn't be a flop, right? But and also people were saying but it's a beat 'em up game. This type of game is kind of dead. So it's very risky what you guys are doing. And but in the end, the public and the players proved it wrong. People are still willing to play games that have a old school vibe but are truly modern in their essence, and so it was very, very pleasant surprise, and we hope to do that again later on with other titles. But it was truly a very nice moment. Too bad that we weren't together to celebrate it, because it was right on the first lockdowns. But yeah.
The thing that surprised me the most is actually that I was thinking the game will be like players would play it one time and maybe two or three times for playing with different characters, but players are still going at it. Like, this is something they vent after a long day of work, and I wasn't expecting that. I knew that the game was cool and it was like a good game at the end, but I didn't expect the players to be so responsive and to carry on as much as they did.
Yeah, replayability was one of the big things. I mean, I could play this with someone new that I haven't played before, and it felt like a fresh experience. Now, this DLC is straight up going to be a fresh experience. Can you kind of give us a rundown of exactly what the Mr. X Nightmare DLC is delivering for players?
So you're gonna be playing with three previously seen characters. They were bosses, and now you can play as Shiva, Max, and Estelle, which is a newly addition to the cast of the Streets of Rage family, and each one of them is still very different from every other character you had already in the game. And this means that at the end you have this is crazy for a beat 'em up game, because we have the retro characters, and we also have 8 fully hand-drawn characters that you can play with each one of them with a different style, and each one of them very fun to play. This is very cool and very kind of I won't say generous, but this is a full crew of opportunities you can play with. And of course, new backgrounds, new combos, new everything, really.
Yeah, basically, the idea of the DLC came pretty quick. Of course, we're not big companies, so that's not really something you can plan ahead. You're wishing for that it will be there will be enough success to actually add more content to the game, it was okay. So pretty much right away we were like, okay, we can do something. And you know, like in every game production, you have to make choices at some point. Like you can't put everything you have in mind in the game because it takes too long, and there are some priority if you want to really deliver quality. So there were some elements that we couldn't make. That couldn't make it in the original game. So the content of the DLC was like we didn't reflect on it for too long. Like training mode was something that was asked by the community and that we had in mind for a long time, but it took some time and it was not like, you know, a priority for the original game. Survival mode's the same. We had this kind of idea of like we wanted to do like a dojo. You have like different levels in the dojo and you go through those levels. That was the original idea. It changed quite a lot, but there was that, and of course lots of different additions in terms of pure content, like Ben said, the characters. And this was also driven by the community because of course with the amazing drawings and animation from Ben, we knew like of course Max is an iconic character from the series. We're like, okay, we should do that. Estelle became an iconic character for us first. We all really loved her from the beginning, and then people too. So we're like, okay, let's do this. And Shiva, of course, because it's super badass.
Funny thing is, actually, Max is a late addition in the production. Like for the original game, like as a boss. I didn't really plan to have Max as a boss, but at some point I like realized like, yeah, this guy is missing. He's so cool and so. So he came as a boss because it's less work to do, and I knew like even before finishing the game, I knew that it would be the base for having a new character that you can just implement later on for future DLC.
Yeah, and so basically all these ideas that we had that we couldn't do for the original game, it was the perfect occasion to do that. But we didn't want it to only do like, of course it takes a lot of work. You see, it took us a year to produce that, so it's a lot of work, especially because now we have high quality standards and we don't want, you know, like to do something, you know, less good than that we did. So it takes some time, but we didn't want it to only have, you know, something that should be paid by players, because we wanted to thank the community as well. So we decided that part of this content should be free, which is going to come in a free update along with the DLC. But that's the idea basically. That's how we thought about it, and we took on the opportunity of the success of the game to actually do it. That's the first time we're doing a DLC at Dotemu, so yeah, we're excited to see how it goes.
Now, of all of the 3 characters that we're adding into Streets of Rage 4 with this DLC, I want to ask specifically about Shiva, because as I saw with the gameplay, looks like one of the more fascinating characters, also a throwback to the series. How does Shiva play? And also, how have you changed the other characters in the existing roster?
Well, Shiva is going to be like very fun to play for a lot of people, because actually in the original game it didn't have much moves. We managed to make him really pop on the screen. Like he can teleport, and he can. Like in the original game, he can't wield a weapon, so every time he tries to pick a weapon, he just punch it directly in the face of an enemy, and it's like very fun to play because he's like agile and quick, and in the same time he's kind of a powerful character and also a fan favorite for a lot of people. So I'm really excited to see if people are gonna like him. And I think they will, really. And like the other characters, the Estelle is very fresh take on a kind of brawler, puncher kind of character, and Max is still the goat. Max is a big brawler that a lot of people gonna love to play with, and we added a few extra moves that he didn't have in the original games. Like for example, all the thunders, the lightning you can see in the trailer. This is part of his special moves and star move, and it's gonna be so fun for people to, because he's a fan favorite for a lot of speed runs. So I'm wondering if that's going to be the case in the new game.
Yeah, and just to add to the description of the characters, so the other new thing that's going to be in the DLC is that it's going to have new moves for all the new characters, but also the old ones. And it's not like a set and B set. It's just, you can mix and match old moves and new moves, and every move is going to be different. So we're looking forward to see how players will play with that and what combinations they'll find are the most effective, and they might break our game, but we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, you'll love to see it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think you're gonna love to play with new moves that Axel is not doing his grand up anymore, and you can have another move which is more suited to your style of playing. This is gonna be fun, really. The free DLC is going to include 3 new color palettes for each playable character. So it's a new music by T. Lopez, which is an amazing guy responsible for the music on Sonic Mania and many more. And he did a splendid job. Like even Koshiro-san was really excited to hear what he made for the game, which made him very happy as well.
Yeah, that was one of my questions, actually asking about new music, because like Streets of Rage music is that will stick in your mind forever as you playing through these levels over and over again. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Now, as we mentioned earlier, this is a pretty substantial DLC. Now, can either of y'all speak to the breadth of content, like how many levels, what kind of challenges we're going to get, how much content in terms of length, and including the kind of backstories we might get from these 3 different characters?
So I'll let Ben talk more about the characters themselves. But in terms of the content, so of course the training mode is made to really improve your skills in the game. So you have kind of some very cool tutorials for every move, and even some secret moves. You can kind of set up your training room with different enemies and all that kind of stuff. We'll give more details about it. Of course, you have the color palettes, which is just cosmetic, but still pretty cool. And then you have the survival mode, which is the actual thing we really worked on, and that came from this initial idea of including that in the original game, but we didn't want to include it lightly. We really wanted to do a cool mode, something that's not just there and not really interesting. So the survival mode, as its name indicates, is you have to basically survive as long as possible through different levels. I won't give you the number of levels or anything so far, because we'll do more announcement later. But yeah, basically you have to stay there. It becomes harder and harder, but at the same time you have things to help you out, which I won't name either. It's pretty new. It's not, like a new story or a new chunk of the game. It's something very different, but the team really went deep into that new mode, and so it's not something that's just using all the stuff from the game. It's completely new and very interesting to play, and especially for a player that already have a good sense of how to play the game. It will be a nice challenge for them, and it will really push their skills to the maximum, and I think there was lots of demand for that as well. So that's why we're trying to enter with that survival mode, but at the same time it's a cool mode as well. You'll see.
Yeah, like Cyril said, like the name implies, a survival mode. You have to survive, so it gives you a broad picture of what we're trying to do. And basically, this DLC is really more focused on the gameplay. This is a very important part of your skills. You have also the new characters, but we didn't really developed, backstories, and we put you straight into the action, and we try to have something very full and meaty, but not like we didn't spend much time on story side on these kind of things.
In the survival mode, there are many things that we couldn't really put in the original game because it would have been weird or not really faithful to the original games. But this time, because people really like the original game, we're like, okay, now they trust us, so now we can go a bit more crazy, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
so there
yeah,
are
yeah.
some fighting with a swordfish, fighting with different kind of stuff, very kind of crazy and full of humor. But if we would have put that in the original game, I think people would have been like disoriented somehow.
Yeah.
At least,
So
yeah.
this basically gives you room to do more wild things, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
definitely.
Yeah.
All right, before we close this out, I want to give the floor to y'all if there's anything else you want to add before we peace out. And also, do y'all have a release date?
So no release date for the moment. We're preparing a kind of explanation trailer that explains everything about the survival mode, what's inside, and with that occasion, we'll announce the release date. It should be in not too long, But with E3 and everything, of course, it's a bit hard to release anything during those period, but it will come soon.
All right, cool. Well, Cyril, Ben, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about Streets of Rage 4 DLC Mr. X Nightmare. I can't wait to play as Shiva in particular. Y'all have seen the gameplay by this point, and each of these new characters play much differently, and that is exciting because Streets of Rage 4 is fire. And all of you fine folks watching out there, stay tuned for all of our coverage of all the latest and greatest in video games here on GameSpot with Play for All. We have so many streams and we're raising funds for charity, so we hope that you can help us help the world.